Your discipline builds your future. Welcome to Clartify.
When staying the same finally hurts more than change, there is a moment most people never talk about. Not because it's rare, but because it's uncomfortable. It's the moment when staying the same starts to hurt more than the fear of changing. Until that moment, people tolerate almost anything. They tolerate frustration, they tolerate emptiness, they tolerate quiet dissatisfaction. Because pain that feels familiar feels safer than uncertainty. But this moment is different. This moment doesn't ask for motivation. It doesn't ask for discipline. It doesn't even ask for courage. It arrives on its own, usually quietly. Nothing dramatic happens. No breakdown. No explosion. No crisis. Just a realization. A simple, heavy realization. I can't keep living like this. Not because life is unbearable, but because it feels dishonest. You're not exhausted from effort. You're exhausted from pretending this version of your life is enough. That's the moment. The moment where the cost of staying finally outweighs the cost of leaving. And once you reach it, there is no going back. Let's slow this down. Most people think change starts with action. It doesn't. It starts with permission. Permission to stop negotiating with yourself. Permission to stop explaining. Permission to stop waiting for clarity. Because by the time this moment arrives, clarity is no longer the issue. Pain is. This is where everything you watched before stops being theory. Awareness stops protecting you. Understanding stops soothing you. The explanations that once helped you survive start suffocating you. That's why this moment feels heavy. You can no longer lie to yourself without feeling it in your body. Every delay feels louder. Every excuse feels thinner. You start noticing how much energy it takes to stay the same. And for the first time, doing nothing feels harder than doing something. That's the shift. Not motivation. Pressure. Internal pressure. The kind that doesn't shout but doesn't leave either. Here's the truth. People don't change when they want a better life. They change when their current life starts demanding too much from their soul. When being comfortable requires too much self-betrayal. When staying familiar means abandoning self-respect. That's when the balance breaks. And this is important. This moment doesn't make you confident. It makes you quiet. You stop seeking reassurance. You stop asking people what they think. You stop waiting for approval, not because you're strong, but because you're tired of carrying the cost. That's why real change rarely looks dramatic. It looks calm. Decisions become simple. Not easy. Simple. You stop asking, what if this fails? And start asking, what if I don't do this? That question changes everything, because it removes fantasy. It forces reality. At this stage, the future no longer scares you. The past does. The idea of staying the same for another year becomes unbearable. And that's when people finally move. Not fast, not perfectly. But honestly, this is where most people misunderstand growth. They think this moment brings relief. It doesn't. It brings responsibility. Once you see that staying hurts more, you can't unknow it. You can't go back to drifting. You can't return to pretending you don't see it. That's why this moment is dangerous. Because it removes excuses. You don't suddenly become disciplined. You become accountable. And accountability is heavier than motivation. From here on, your life changes not because it's exciting, but because it would hurt too much not to change. That's the real turning point. Not inspiration, not energy. Pain. Honest pain. The kind that finally tells the truth. So if you feel like something inside you is quietly tightening, if staying feels heavier than leaving, if the thought of another year like this makes your chest feel heavy, you're not broken. You're at the edge. The edge most people avoid. The edge where excuses stop working. The edge where awareness becomes action. And here's the final truth of this series. You don't need to become someone new. You need to stop betraying who you already are. That's it. That's the moment. And once you cross it, your life doesn't change overnight, but it finally moves in the right direction, and it never stops. This series was never meant to motivate you. It was meant to remove your excuses. You already knew what was wrong. You already understood why nothing changed. You already felt the cost, even if you never named it. All we did here was stop letting you hide from it. There is no message to remember, no rule to follow, no habit to start. Because by now, you don't need instructions. You need honesty. Most people will close this video and return to their life exactly as it is. Not because they didn't understand, but because change finally feels real. And real things are heavy. If you walk away unchanged, this series still did its job. Because you'll notice the cost now. You'll feel it when you delay. You'll hear it when you explain. You'll recognize it when you pretend. And if one day staying the same becomes heavier than letting go, you'll know exactly why. There's nothing more to say.
Thank you for watching. If you're ready to upgrade your mind and build unshakable discipline, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. More powerful lessons are coming. Stay disciplined. Stay clarify.